Hello lovely people, with 4th of July coming up in a few days, you can't go wrong with this salted caramel apple pie. So we're going to start with the dough. For that, you're going to need 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. This recipe is really easy. You just want to pulse that 2 or 3 times just to combine the ingredients. Add 1 cup of cold butter cut up into cubes and pulse until you get a crumb-like texture. I think the food processor is perfect for pie dough, as you want to handle this dough as little as possible and work it only until it comes together. Overworking the dough will lead to a very tough dough and you won't get that crunch. Instead, you'll get a rubbery texture. Add a few tablespoons of ice water and pulse until the dough begins to come together. You don't want it to be a ball, just large chunks. Perfect. Don't take it any further. Stop, fingers off the buttons, and step away from the food processor. If it becomes a ball, you've gone too far. Empty the mixture onto the counter. Does it look too crumbly? No, this is just right. You will see in a minute, so don't be tempted to add any more water. Use your hands to just pull the mixture together. The warmth from your hands will help the dough to come together, just like this. Do not knead the dough at all. Working the dough too much will activate the gluten, and we don't want that. We want a short and crunchy, buttery crust, not a chewy crust. Halve the crust and form into 2 discs. Again, handle it as little as possible. Guys, we love your feedback, so do let us know how we're doing. And if you'd like to learn a specific recipe, then please share it down below and I'll definitely try my best to accommodate you. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and help us grow. Thank you. Cover the dough discs in cling film and chill for 1 hour. Once it's chilled, roll out one of the discs into a 12-inch circle. Use as little flour as possible to roll out the dough. If you add too much flour while rolling, the pastry will end up very dry and lose all that buttery texture and flavor, and we definitely don't want to do that. Here is a trick to help you move the dough from the counter to the pie dish. Roll the dough around your rolling pin. It makes moving the dough easy as pie. Get it? Oh, come on, that was a good one. Place the dough in the pie dish and press it into the dish. There should be at least 2 or 3 inches of overhang. Leave it alone and do not trim it. Set the pie dish aside and let's get on with the filling. I'm always looking for recipes where I don't have to do too much work, and this recipe is perfect. The pie filling requires minimal work and just some mixing. You're going to need 6 to 7 peeled, cored and sliced apples, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 cup of sugar. It really doesn't get better than this. You just want to mix it in well and voila, the pie filling is ready. I don't cook my filling on the stove beforehand, as I prefer my apples to have a slight bite to them as compared to a mushy texture that you get from those that you've already cooked on the stove. So I add in my apples raw, but that's entirely up to you. Now you just want to pour the apple filling into the pie dish and press them down as much as you can. Now we're going to pour over 1/2 cup of salted caramel. Doesn't get better than that. It already looks so good. Set the pie aside and let's get on with the lattice for the top. So to start, we want to roll out the other pastry disc again using as little flour as possible, into a 14-inch circle. We want this circle to be slightly wider for long lattice strips. Cut 1/2-inch strips with a pastry wheel or a very sharp knife. This part was really easy. Now let's get on to the technical part. So I'm going to break it down as easily as I can for you. Hopefully you'll find this method easy and helpful. First, I would advise that your lattice strips are quite cool as they will keep their shape. If your kitchen is hot, then I would suggest that you chill your strips for around 20 minutes. So you just want to lay around 6 to 7 of those strips vertically, but don't press them down as we're going to need to move them around a bit for the lattice work. Lift alternative strips of the pastry and fold them back. Place a strip of the pastry horizontally and fold them back over. Lift the strips that were now underneath the previous pastry. Place another strip of pastry horizontally and repeat this process until the lattice is complete. If you don't like apples, you can always mix it up and change the filling, like cherry, peach, or even mixed berry. That's my favorite. I think watching the process is easier than explaining it. In the end, the lattice will be perfect, so just keep watching and following this pattern. What do you serve with your pie? I usually have a selection of items like custard, vanilla ice cream, and fresh cream too. Does it sound like too much? I believe a few people would beg to differ. What do you serve with your pies? The hardest part of making this pie was sitting on the kitchen floor, watching it bake, and wishing that it would bake faster. But it didn't. It was real torture. Now we are going to take that extra pastry around the sides, or what I called it before was the overhang, and we're going to fold it over the top. This will create a beautiful crust and will help get those lattice strips to stay in their place. I know what you're thinking. It doesn't look neat. Oh, what did you make me do? It looks really rubbish. My 5-year-old could have done a better job. Don't worry, we're going to fix it up. And we're going to crimp the edges and make them look really, really pretty. I love the rustic look. It gives the pie character, I suppose. And you can tell that each pie is created uniquely and with loads of love. Brush the top of the pastry with a simple egg wash. The egg wash is 1 egg with 1 tablespoon of milk just whisked together. Top with 2 tablespoons of coarse sugar. Perfect, a little more, maybe a little more, and a little more. Bake at 200 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes and then turn down the heat to 190 and cook for 40 minutes longer. Slice and serve with fresh cream and extra salted caramel. And there you have it, salted caramel apple pie. What pie are you making for the 4th of July? Let me know in the comments down below. Much love and have a good one. Bye.